Jai Sriman
Jai Sriman
Jai Sriman
Jai Sriman
I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagat Guru Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi, and I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I welcome all of you to our Sunday satsang at the Sri Narayan Dham in Durban, South Africa. I welcome those that's watching this discourse on live feed, locally, nationally, and internationally. I welcome those that's going to be watching this discourse in the various groups when it is subsequently posted therein. Our topic in this current series is modern science is catching up with supreme science. Modern science is catching up with supreme science. And I stated at the beginning of this series that the origin and source of supreme science is Lord Sriman Narayan. The summary of these discourses went around, and based on the reactions, I want to bring this to general understanding. What do I mean when I say the source of all science? The source of supreme science is Lord Sriman Narayan. So for the past 25 or more discourses, we established that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is none other than Lord Sriman Narayan himself. There is no doubt to this, as this is boldly declared by all authorized scriptures and all bona fide spiritual masters. Lord Sriman Narayan is recognized by all schools of thought in Sanatan Dharma, notwithstanding the fact that the only school of thought with absolute authority is the Sri Ramanuj Sampradaya. These other schools, Advaita and Dvaita, Adi Shankaracharya himself, whilst he saved humanity from total atheism through Buddhism, and he postulated a trans-theistic philosophy, in the same breath he declared in his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita that Lord Sriman Narayan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And on the side of Dvaita, Madhva Acharya, although he diverted from the mainstream Vaishnavite philosophy, he asserted that Lord Sriman Narayan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And recently, Swami Prabhupada from ISKCON, although he tried here and there to state that Lord Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in majority of his transcriptions, direct from Sanskrit into English, it is evident that majority of his works, and he himself declares that Lord Sriman Narayan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in terms of all of these saints and sages and the following of the supreme scientist whose theorems are embedded in the Upanishads and whose truths of supreme science is embedded in the Upanishads in the form of stories. And I explained last week that the formulae or formulas or formulae of supreme science cannot be given openly just to anybody. If this supreme science falls in the hands of wrong people, then the balance in the universe itself, the balance in the universe itself will be tampered with. And the balance of this universe is in proportion to the karmic activity of each and every living entity that exists in this material universe. So an ant is an ant because of its karma. A snake is a snake because of its karma. And Nirali is Nirali because of her karma. And this is the balance of this universe. And this is supreme science. This is supreme science. And if modern science takes initiation into supreme science through the various spiritual masters that belong to the Sri Ramanuj Sampradaya from around the world, then modern science do not have to tinker from the back. They will have understanding from the front. For modern science has only tinkered. The furthest they have went is they have tinkered. Their sciences keep changing every 30 to 40 years. Every 30 to 40 years, modern science, the results of the various experiments that are conducted by modern science change every 30 to 40 years. The supreme science, which is embedded in the Upanishads, is eternal. It means it exists in its supreme form since time immemorial. It cannot be experimented with, it cannot be tested, because man only has how many senses? Suggestion? 5. 5 senses is like 5 grains of sand Can 5 grains of sand determine the magnitude of all the grain of sand in this universe? Can 5 grains of sand determine the magnitude of all the grains of sand in this universe? So similarly, man with his 5 senses cannot grasp the creation of this universe because he is limited only with 5 senses. And the supreme science and the originator of the supreme science, Lord Sriman Narayan, has infinite attributes. You cannot perceive with finite attributes infinite attributes. And I want to give you an example. Sunita, you cook for the Guru? Where's the food? Where? Okay, I can't smell it. I got nostrils. You cook the food. It's in the same ashram. It's about 4 or 5 meters away behind me, or maybe 4 or 5 meters in front of me, but I cannot smell it, not because you didn't use the best masala. It's because my sense of smell is limited. My sense of smell is limited. Where you stay, Sunita Beni? How many kilometers from here, Satish Bhai? Don't leave your wife on the hot seat. You must help and assist. When you took the marriage vows, you said you're going to equally help your wife. 3 kilometers. Although Sunita Beni cooked this food for me at about in between 8:30 and 9 o'clock, Sunita Beni, alright, the Guru couldn't see you. And yet you are only 3 kilometers away. That means my sense of sight is limited. When you was telling Satish Bhai, I'm cooking a tasty meal for my Guruji, I hope he eats it, because Sita Bheni put a lot of restrictions and my food was stopped. I hope he doesn't listen to her and eat my food. I didn't hear you. Although you was 3 kilometers away. Sita, please do not fight with Sunita Beni. I'm eating her food today. Alright? So the sense of hearing is limited. How many more senses are there? 2. How many more? 2. Alright? So if I give Dana a smack from here, he won't feel it. And how many meters away from me he is? 2 meters. If I smack him from here, he can't feel anything. So the sense of touch is limited. Did I leave any sense out? Sense of taste. As Sunita Beni was cooking the food, I could not taste it, and it was only 3 kilometers away. Now let's look at this universe. What is the diameter of this universe? Anyone knows? Please research diameter of universe. You'll find it in Vedas only. Alright? In Vedas. If I could not see 3 kilometers, if I could not hear 3 kilometers, if I could not smell 3 meters, and if I could not smack Dana from here for him to feel the pain, and if I could not taste the food that's a few meters away from me, how are scientists, modern scientists, going to use the same five senses and determine the universe? Is it 4 million suggestion diameter?
8,000 miles.
Work it out in kilometers. Look for Swami Prabhupada's
12,800
kilometers.
Yeah. Actually,
No, that's it can't be, alright? Because from here to Cape Town is 2,000 kilometers. Okay, it's in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5. I'm just going to verify because I'm giving a discussion on science, and in science you have to know things as they really are. So I'm not going to give you an estimate. I will give you the exact. I'll give you the exact distance and I'll confirm it with scripture. So basically the point I'm trying to make is modern science do not have capacity or facility, not yesterday, not today, and not tomorrow, to make any in-depth advancements towards supreme science. Modern science do not have capacity or ability to make any in-depth stride towards supreme science. Let me give you an example. And I'm going to use this make of motor vehicle because it is known around the world. They didn't pay me, alright, and they're not going to pay me. They don't even know me, alright. So I'm going to use Mercedes-Benz, alright, Mercedes-Benz. So if you strip a Mercedes-Benz into its various parts and try to understand the function of each part. Any mechanics here? Naveen, semi-mechanic? Anyone mechanically minded? Done. Alright. Kabir, little bit mechanics? Okay, so if you take a Mercedes-Benz and you strip it into its individual parts, and if you try to understand each stripped part, you think in this lifetime you'll understand who put the alternator together, who put the starter together, how the starter and the alternator works, that thousands of wiring, the many computer box, which wire goes where, how long you think it will take man to put that car back together? Suggestion? Many lifetimes. And to also understand each function. So if you take out an alternator, for you to understand what an alternator does, what does an alternator do, Kavir? What it charges? How does it charge the battery? How does it charge the battery? I can't hear. Sorry? How does the alternator charge the battery? Specific question. What? What does the magnet do? It creates a flux. It creates a magnetic field, and electricity is derived through a flux. And I'm telling you, Mercedes-Benz is not paying me. I'm just giving an example. General alternator, right? You understand? All of you understand? How long will it take you to take each part, strip it, and understand it? Inconceivable. And then put it back. Inconceivable. And that is what scientists or modern scientists are trying to do with this universe. This universe is the Mercedes-Benz. And they're taking one part, they're breaking it up into pieces, and they're trying to see how it works. Now this is what the Guru will do. Instead of stripping the Mercedes-Benz in pieces to see how it works, he'll just take the car manual, open to page 1, and he'll see all the instruments, how it works. Page 2, he'll see how the engine works. Page 3, he'll see how the alternator works. Page 4, he'll see how the starter works. This is what the Guru will do. And this is what the Guru did when he was an atheist for 20 years. He couldn't understand how the universe worked. He tried the scientific way, he got no answers. Then the Guru opened the manual for the universe called the Vedas. And in the Vedas, it is stated how the universe functions. From the first atom to all the atoms, and how all the atoms recede into the first atom again at dissolution. You understand? So you can remain a donkey. I'm talking to modern scientists. They can remain a donkey, because what a donkey does. A donkey takes a load from here to there. And whilst it's offloading, somebody feeds it grass. And whilst it's eating joyfully, it is burdened with a load, and it takes that load to another point and offloads it. So a donkey's day is, somebody feeds it grass, it takes a load from one point to another point to another point. Alright? But if the donkey gets up and looks, the same grass that the donkey is being fed by people to carry loads, all you have to do is escape one night and eat that grass for free. Eat that grass for free. So similarly, modern scientists, all they have to do is escape from the donkey mentality of experiments and experiments and experiments, get up one day, open the Vedas, and realize the truths on how all the parts in the universe work. It does not, there's no need to experiment on how the universe works. How will it help modern science to experiment? It will help modern science to know. It will help modern science to know. And to know is to find a guru in the Sri Ramanuja Sampradaya. And why am I saying Sri Ramanuja Sampradaya, Hemita? Because I believe Hemita did a quote where I said that if you want to know supreme science, then you must follow a guru from the Sri Ramanuja Sampradaya, and yesterday she was kicked out of her group. She was kicked out of her group because she did a quotation that if you want to know supreme science, you must follow a guru from the Sri Ramanuja Sampradaya. Why did I say this? So let us examine what is science. What is science? Knowing things as they really are from A to Z. there must be nothing left unknown. There must be nothing left unknown. So in Vedanta, some gurus have created other philosophies. And the two main created philosophies are Advaita and Dvaita. Advaita looks at one aspect of the Upanishads. Dvaita looks at another aspect of the Upanishads. When you combine Dvaita and Advaita, they contradict each other. Can there be any contradiction in science? There can be no contradiction in science. So hear me again. Advaita took one portion of the Upanishads and they said this is real. Dvaita took another portion of the Upanishads and said this is real. When you put these two parts of the Upanishads together, they are in total contradiction of each other. Can science contradict? Science is absolute, it means there can be no contradiction at all in science. And this is why I'm saying, if you want to know science, supreme science, then you have to follow the Sri Sampradaya, because Lord Sri Ramanuj took the Dvaita aspect, the Advaita aspect, and he synthesized it with the Vishishtadvaita aspect. So when he put these three aspects together, there is absolutely no contradiction. So who is the supreme scientist? Lord Sri Ramanuj, isn't it? Because if you got an encyclopedia of science of 20 books, and if 7 books is contradicting another 7 books, can that encyclopedia be science itself? All the books in that encyclopedia. Not even one sentence must contradict. Not even one sentence can contradict for science to be absolute. So it is only, and only Lord Sri Ramanuj's commentary on the entire Vedas, that is supreme science. It is only Lord Sri Ramanuj's commentary and purport called Vishishtadvaita, which is supreme science, and in Lord Sri Ramanuj's purport there is absolutely no contradiction, not even one sentence. So I'm not going to go into the practicals of Lord Sri Ramanuj. I'm giving you the theory of Lord Sri Ramanuj. But I'm giving you the practical of my Guru, Swami Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj. I'm giving you the practicals of my Guru, Swami Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj. Okay? And I stated, and we're recapping, he changed a girl child into a boy child. He changed water to ghee and ghee back to water. He brought a dead man to life, and he used a cup of tea to bring the mountainous level, the hard rock, the granite rock on the Sri Siddhartha Ashram to a position of flatness, because equipment was failing to do that. So how did he do that? And I'm saying he is the supreme scientist, Naveen, of the 21st century. Guruji is the supreme scientist of the 21st century because he performed, these are not miracles. Miracles are these mystic Babas, mystic Babas who cough up some gold here and there. Those are miracles. This is supreme science. Supreme science. Why is he the supreme scientist of the 21st century? Because number one, from which institution he comes from? From the Sri Sampradaya. And the Sri Sampradaya belongs to who? The origin of supreme science. And who is the origin of supreme science? Lord Sriman Narayan. And anyone who hails in a bona fide position in the Sri Ramanuj Sampradaya is a supreme scientist. All of you understand? So Guruji in the 21st century, just to put it in its context, Ashwarya, I saw your Ashwarya Ramanuj Dasi on Facebook and I sent you a friend request. Did you accept my friend request? Why are you so busy? I sent it about 4 days ago. Because I was wondering, who is this Ashwarya Ramanuj Dasi from Durban Reservoir Hills, South Africa? Ashwarya, who is the dean of a university? Sorry? Okay. So in this Kali Yuga, Lord Sri Ramanuj is the dean of the University of the Sri Sampradaya. Alright? Then the university will have various departments. Alright? Do they? So the head of spiritual sciences in the 21st century is Swami Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj. You all understand now in this context. Lord Sri Ramanuj is the dean of the university of the Sri Sampradaya. Lord Sriman Narayan is the source of the knowledge for this university, of which Lord Sri Ramanuj is the dean of the university, and Swami Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj is the head of spiritual sciences. And yours truly is a lecturer in one of these universities in the Sri Sampradaya. Now you understand. All of you understand? Understand, Ashwarya? Sugeshan, understand? Baby, understand? You think she knows this knowledge? Yes, she knows this knowledge. Where's Shweta? From no children, we got 2 children all of a sudden in this satsang. From no children, we have 2. Alright? Dana, your children days are over. Don't think now you can go home today and ever. Although you were the supreme scientist, we're not going to do anything special for you. Your children days are
over.
Well over. Alright? Okay, so I want to sum up. Have you all heard of the Big Bang Theory? Who heard of the Big Bang Theory? I want you to go and research the Big Bang Theory, because I'm not going to bang it out. I'm not going to bang it out. Modern science came to a few similarities. I want to explain how this universe is created. And it might take us a good few satsangs to complete, because we're doing this now with a scientific view and not a religious view. And this is where the mistake has been, where science refused to accept the Upanishads because they look at the Upanishads as religious texts. Upanishads are not religious texts. Upanishads are the supreme sciences. Upanishads are scientific texts and not religious texts. All of you understand? So prior to creation, Kavir, I'm going to cross-question you, Kavir, when you come and sit in Makuti one of the days, of all what I said in this discourse, and I want 10 out of 10. Alright? So prior to creation, all the living entities and material nature live within the body of Lord Sriman Narayan. I want you to imagine. I want you to imagine a form. Within this form is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sriman Narayan. And his body comprises of all the living entities and material nature. What is material nature? The proton, the electrons and the neutrons. So all the souls, the protons, the electrons and the neutron form the body of Lord Sriman Narayan. So Lord Sriman Narayan is embodied prior to creation in a very, very subtle, what does subtle mean? Cannot be seen. Cannot be seen. Naveen, if I send you an SMS from my phone to your phone just now, please deliver one load of plaster sand so I can plaster my domes. The SMS you'll see on your side, and I'll send it from my side. But will anyone see the SMS leaving my phone and entering your phone? At the point where it leaves my phone and at the point where it enters your phone, it will be in a subtle form. It leaves my phone in a gross form because I can see that message. And when it reaches your phone, it will be in a gross form because you can see that message. But in between my phone and your phone, that message will be in a subtle, formless state. Isn't? And similarly, prior to creation, both material nature and all the infinite souls make up the body of Lord Sriman Narayan in a subtle state. In a subtle state. Alright? And I'm going to try to bring this discourse to a close. Very difficult for me because I'm rolling. I am on a roll. And some devotees are hungry, Narayan. Some devotees are hungry. So when the Guru is on a roll and devotees are hungry, we have to compromise and try and bring the satsang to a. We want to close this session. Alright? So I'm going to verify, as we do with all our discourses, as we do with all the discourses. So this is the Chandogya Upanishad. This is the Chandogya Upanishad. And in 634, chapter 6, section 2. So this Upanishad, unlike conventional or modern science, there are no experiments and results. This science is explained from teacher to pupil, like what we're doing now. Spiritual knowledge is exchanged from teacher to pupil. And this is how the 90% of the Upanishads is operating. One entity teaches the next entity. And whatever is said is absolute science. Okay? So subsection 2, the Father explains to the Son on how this universe was created, and this is supreme science. This is supreme science. Chapter 6 of the Chandogya Upanishad, verse 2. In the beginning, Son, this world, simply what is existent, one only, without a second. Full stop. Now on this point, some do say, in the beginning this world was simply what is non-existent, one only, without a second. Full stop. And from what is non-existent was born what is existent. Now this is what modern scientists are saying. Suggestion. Modern science is saying there was nothing, then there was some chemicals, and that chemicals coalesced or mixed with each other, and there was a big bang. Okay? They are theorizing. Now this is supreme science. This is being stated through sages by Lord Sriman Narayan himself, the source of supreme science. Now this is directly from the source through this sage called the Father, who is explaining to the Son. So even at that point in time, at all points in time, there's modern science. Even then, at that point in time, Pranisha, people were thinking that existence came out of nothing. Existence came out of nothing. And then the Father says, but Son, how can that possibly be? He continued. How can what is existent be born from what is non-existent? On the contrary, Son, in the beginning, this world was simply what is existent, one only, without a second. Who is he meaning by the term existent? One only, without a second. Who is he meaning? Lord Sriman Narayan. Before creation, there was only one entity that was existent without a second, and that entity that was existent, which I've proven already in previous discourses, is Lord Sriman Narayan. And then he goes on to say, this entity that was existent now, this entity that was existent, and it thought to itself, let me become many, let me propagate myself. It emitted heat, the heat thought to itself, let me become many, let me propagate myself. It emitted water. Whenever it is hot, therefore a man surely perspires, and thus it is from heat that water is produced. The water thought to itself, let me become many, let me propagate myself. It emitted food. Whenever it rains, therefore food becomes abundant, and thus it is from water that foodstuffs are produced. Okay, so this is the beginning of creation. Who will let me become many? Lord Sriman Narayan. Prior to his willing, let me become many, what was the state of all of us? We were in a subtle state forming his body. We had no name, we had no name and no form. We had no name and no form. All of us, Kabir, you also had no name and no form. We were all in a subtle state forming the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his body. And then Lord Sriman Narayan started the Big Bang through his willing and the emission of the frequency called Om. And when he uttered this mantra called Om, all the subtle aspects, both the living entities and material nature, in terms of the electrons, the protons and the neutrons, which we call the three gunas, Satagun, Rajogun and Tamogun, through various permutations as per the karma of each individual soul, began to permutate, and each living entity got a name and a form. Where did these living entities get the name and form from? The emission of Om, simultaneously the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He said, let me become many. What he said? Naveen, are you understanding? Let me become many. All the souls were already there on his body. All the atoms, protons and neutrons were already there on his body. So by him becoming many, he entered each electron, each proton and each neutron. And he also entered each and every soul. When he entered each and every soul, the soul that he entered became the body of Lord Sriman Narayan, and the protons, electrons and neutrons permutated and became the body of the individual souls in 8.4 million species. They became the souls, bodies of the 33 million Devis and Devtas. They became the bodies of the divine entities that live in the 7 heavens. They became the bodies of humans. They became the bodies of animals. They became the body of reptiles, of birds, of the aquatics, plants, creepers. And it covered these single individual souls animated the protons, electrons, neutrons that we are wearing today. So this body that we are wearing today, Nirali, which you put lovely lipstick, beautiful eyelashes. That's why you came late to satsang. Car was I've been long time. Nail polish. What else you did, Nirali? Straightened your hair with a hair straightener. All this is atoms, protons, neutrons, and electrons. This is not you, Nirali. You are that beautiful soul inside, trying to find the beauty outside. Alright? You are the beautiful soul inside. Inside your soul is seated Lord Sriman Narayan. Your soul is the body of Lord Narayan's soul. Your soul is the body of Lord Narayan's soul, and your body is made up of electrons, protons, and neutrons. Take all your lipstick, powder, nail polish and throw it away. Because as soon as the real you together with Lord Narayan leaves this body, you can put how much lipstick you want. This body will never ever appreciate it. Now modern science need to find this aspect. Initially modern science said there was only chemicals. Then they got a bit clever, I won't use the word intelligent. The modern scientists will only be intelligent once they join the Sri Sampradaya and learn science through a spiritual master, then they will become intelligent. In the interim they will be clever. Alright? Then they got a little more cleverer, if there is such a word. Alright? And they said there is intelligence now behind the chemicals that form this universe. So I'm giving them a thumbs up, you say, Sooks, that intelligence is an attribute of the consciousness, and the consciousness is an attribute of the soul. Sorry, intelligence is a quality of consciousness. Intelligence is a quality of consciousness, and consciousness is an attribute of the soul. So for modern science to understand supreme science, they have to get up from Amita?
Sleep.
What sleep? What it's
Ignorance.
called?
Ignorance.
Not, let's give it a better word since we're talking to scientists here. When you lose your memory, what's it called?
Amnesia.
Amnesia. Okay? So modern science, as long as you are in amnesia, can you learn anything?
No.
No.
No. So as long as you think you are this body, can you learn anything? Why? Because as long as you think you are this body, you are in amnesia. As soon as you realize you are the soul, then can you learn anything. Yes, because now your amnesia is gone and you can learn. Supreme science cannot be taught to a dead body. Supreme science cannot be taught to a dead body, and whoever attempts to understand supreme science through a dead body will fail. Supreme science can only be taught to a spirit soul. In that context, are there any questions? Amita, any questions?
No, Acharya.
Shweta, any questions? Any questions? Shweta? Narayani, any questions? Narayani, any questions? These two children at the age of 5 will know more than what all of you all know, plus even 5 years later. Alright? As long as they don't leave satsang. Because they're wearing a dead body. Inside that body is a soul that is a knower. Inside that body is a soul that is a knower. Relatively speaking, who's older? You think Sean or his daughter? Who you think is older, Sean or his daughter?
Daughter?
Suggestion you? Suggestion or his daughter? Both same age. Souls are eternal. Souls are eternal. Soul don't grow big, neither does it grow small. Naveen, don't you feel like you're 20-year-old lady? Only when you look in the mirror you think, who is this old Bali looking at me? All of y'all. Who feels old? Shanti, don't you feel you're 16? Seriously. Only when you look at your mirror and when you're inhibited by actions that you performed when you were younger. Because the soul is always youthful. It has always been youthful. The soul has not grown one day. Can you believe it? Because the soul is not affected with time. Only this material body where Nirali is putting lipstick. No chemical can keep you young, Nirali. You're already young. You've been young through zillions of lifetimes. Zillions and zillions of lifetimes you have been young. This is just one of the clothes you are wearing in this lifetime called Nirali. Nirali is just your clothes that you're wearing. Maybe if you come to satsang, 7 satsangs in a row, I'll tell you what was your last name in your last satsang. And maybe if you come for 7 more satsang, I'll tell you before. It's a deal. When a guru makes a deal, it is absolute. Any questions? Amita, you want to know?
No.
Okay, Amita doesn't know. Anyone wants to make a deal yet, Vinisha? You want to know your past 7 lifetimes? How much of anger was in the first life, second life, third? Are there any questions? Vishwadar, no question? Okay. Jai Sriman Narayan.